So one thing you want to remember, or strip this down, we have our plenum screws, which go from our ports here straight to the plenum. There's 4 of them, and they're all different sizes. So you need to remember which ones go where. So this was our first top left, center top, and right top, and this is our bottom center. Same thing on the other side. They're all different sizes, and it seems like they're all different in different positions on each side. So they don't really seem to match up on each side, is what I'm trying to say. So they're in different places. So when you don't have them in the right place, car's not going to auto right. So we got to make sure we keep those in the right place. Alright, so what we've done so far is we went ahead and took off all the top of the plenum screws. So here on both sides we got some hoses undone for here. Just got to make sure you remember which hose goes where. Took off all the brackets that are connecting to the top of the plenum and unplugged our electrical. Now we got to loosen up the bolts on the bottom. Tap this and then it'll pull on up. Hopefully. That's what we gathered. So some of these are pretty hard to reach to. You're definitely going to need extension, float, and joints here so you can move the bit a little bit. So there's our part of our intake, right? This is the plenum. Finally got it off. Just got to make sure you unplug everything. There's one little electrical connector on the bottom. You don't want to make sure you don't just jerk it off because it plugs straight in the back of this. Pull off all your coolant tubes. A couple other connectors in there. You might want to be easier than we were. You got to make sure you loosen these up a little bit more than what you think you need to on the bottom. When we pulled up, you know, this side kind of got messed up our gasket a little bit. Probably have to get some of those. Here's our fuel pressure regulator. That's what we're going to be changing out, hopefully, to resolve our fuel problem. You know, if that doesn't do it, we're going to have to get gaskets and then fuel injectors. That's where we're at. So, just got back. What we had to do is we had to go out and get a special size in order to get the fuel pressure regulator. This is a Torque 10. And it's special. It's got a little hole in the middle. They're like star bits, but star bits don't have the solid, or they're solid all the way through. And this has a hole. And we got about 6 of those that we had to take off for the fuel pressure regulator. So I went ahead and pulled off most of those. It's a little messed up. Alright, so we went ahead, we stripped it all down. We got the whole intake down apart. Pretty nasty up in there. But it was a real pain. There's about 7 bolts on this lower port 2 that go straight down in between. I'll show you what they look like here. On each side you got these. Here we have the driver's side. 2 pretty hard to get ones on the bottom, and then one going, this is actually bolted from the inside out. So that one, you pretty much got to get the whole plenum off first before you get it out. Then you have the passenger side. The only difference here is it's got this extra tube here, and the same deal. You had 2 on the bottom that you couldn't get to too easily. You didn't see them. And then this guy here, he actually bolts in from the center. All the other ones, they screw in from the outside, and this guy goes in from the center. So you have to get that middle part out first. We went ahead and got new gaskets for all of this. Then we have our fuel rail here. Here's each rail. Here's our lines. This is where our fuel pressure regulator came off. We went ahead and pulled it off, but it actually looked okay. We're probably going to go ahead and put the new regulator on it anyways, because there's a gasket diaphragm that comes in here. When you pull it off, it can flake and rip pretty easy. So we'll probably go ahead and replace it. What we did to test is we took an air hose, covered this up with our palm, pretty much like this, blew air into it, and what we were looking for is just to see if anything came out. And what we did notice is right here on this guy, which is the same position where we were seeing fuel leaking. This would be the driver's side. It sits in like this, and it's the closest to the driver. That's where we were seeing it before when we pulled the plugs. It's also the same side that we saw the gas coming out in the intake, or the exhaust rather. So when we blew the air in it, we covered it, it just kind of dripped. It just dripped out of this one. We also saw one on this side over here give it a little bit of a spray. So they are being they're either stuck open or something's preventing them from closing all the way. We did check to make sure they were all working. We used an old mechanic's trick. You take a screwdriver and touch the tip of this while it's all in there, and you put your ear on the screwdriver, and you can hear them open and close the clicking. So they all open and close, but these 2 were staying open, and gas just blew out of them. So what we're going to do is get new injectors for it all the way around probably. We'll clean all this up. we'll clean the plenum up. We'll clean the rest of the intake up and throw it back on there. New regulator. Hopefully we'll be good to go. We won't have any other problems. So since we got it all down, we went ahead and we're going to try to clean up some of that aluminum. This is just one pass through here. What we're using is some degreaser and some aluminum polish shiner. So we'll go through and we scraped off all the gaskets on these guys, and then we'll shine them up. We got new gaskets to throw on them. And just give it a little extra shine so it looks like not dirt. Purple Power degreaser here and cleaner. And we'll go through, we'll spray it down. We'll take a real fine brush. Not fine brush, it's a real rough brush. It's very coarse. And we'll wipe it down. And then you go that as best as you can. And then after that, we're using some aluminum shine. So here's what we got. Here's what we started with. Here's what we finished with. And as you can tell, there's some spots still on there. Some stain of some sort. We might be able to run that through with the cleaner again and get that off, and then run that polish over it one more time. But that's going to clean it up and make it look real nice. It's going to look good.